Guys, this is the top 40 modern slasher movies I've seen. This is only part 1, so this is going to include 20 of them. This list is not in any particular order. This will be the first 20. And some of these you may have heard of, some of them you may not have heard of. Either way, I hope that if the ones you haven't heard of, you'll find some enjoyment in. And this is me, Kung Drew, box of half, ready to get this started. I've seen a lot. I hadn't seen all, no, but I've seen a good bit. And the next part is going to include a lot more that I'm going to have to watch soon. But I guess we're about to start the list, and again, no particular order. Here we go. 40 is Amusement. Yes, that is right. This movie about a killer clown and a guy who runs a hotel and a guy convoy, and there's like this big thing. It's really a good movie, full of suspense. It's one of the only movies that's actually really scared me. So I mean, it's pretty much one of those. It is a slasher. I would consider it as such. It's scary, in my opinion. One of the only movies that's ever scared me, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I think the only other movies that really scared me were My Bloody Valentine, the original, I think the remake, Suspiria, and The Last Man on Earth at one point, and a few other things I forgot. I think Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But anyway, I'm scared by a few more things. I can go on, but then this is Amusement. Great movie, has Catherine Winnick in it, and great acting. You'd enjoy it. Check it out. Alright, 39 is Plasterhead. Okay, no one's probably heard of this one. I watched this in a double feature with Hatchet. Meaning, well, you know what double features, but like on Netflix, I watched this, and watched this right after I watched Hatchet. I'm like, this is probably not gonna end up living up to Hatchet, but it did, surprisingly. It is on par with it, and it's pretty creepy, actually. It seems like it would be a good new introduction to a new villain in horror, and it's low budget, but they have some good scenes, good backstory for the killer. It's pretty interesting. I've seen it twice, so I mean, like I watched it a second time. I loved it. Great movie. I mean, it's slower, but it's really creepy, and it's an enjoyable movie. Alright, so yeah, up to number 38. Frayed has one of the creepiest and most disturbing opening scenes in any movie. I'm not really going to talk about it, but and it has a really disturbing twist too. This is beyond disturbing, and I think that it's just a very surprising movie. It has good twists, and the killer really looks really cool, but then they'll like twists and stuff that make it really disturbing, deeply psychological. And I think that that's a really good thing, because it taps into the mind. And I saw this one on Netflix too, and I watched this one like a little bit after Amusement, like the next day, and I had a lot of fun. It's worth it. Worth watching. Definitely worth watching. Killer clowns. Sounds cliche, and it is, but it's not like you'd expect. It's a great film. Now, number 37, this one's definitely not for everyone. This is Gutterballs, bowling slasher movie. When I say definitely not for everyone, it's over gory, and it borders on porn, because there's lots of sex in it, and there's lots of nudity, lots of crazy things going on. There's this really, really uncomfortable 8-minute rape scene that's like, ugh. But the movie, it says it curses more than Wolf of Wall Street. Some people might think it's over the top. It is. But it's a good thing. No, not the scene. It's just a great movie, because it throws back to the 80s, and It's you can clearly tell there's a there's a sequel coming up soon, and it's pretty. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's not for everyone though. I kind of cringed while watching it. It's pretty hardcore. I mean, it goes a little too far sometimes, but that's alright. But I mean, next is Laid to Rest. Another one of those modern new things. Laid to Rest has had a sequel and introduced Chrome Skull to the masses, which this movie didn't really get that well of reviews. Neither do a lot of them, but like Chrome Skull is just a very weird snake killer, and he's like creepy, and he's a tape recorder. He has like a camera strapped on his shoulder. He's like tall and very menacing. So don't want to be caught with this guy. You know, he's scary, and he glues his mask on with like medical adhesive. That becomes important at the end of the movie. But okay, I don't want to spoil too much. We're going on to the next thing, which is, well, again, there's a sequel, Chrome Skull 2, Laid to Rest, which I haven't seen yet, but I need to. It's pretty intense. Great film. Really great film. Next we're going to number 35, Hatchet. And a lot of people have heard of this, Victor Crowley with Kane Hodder and all that, and it's really good. The sequel's great too. I haven't seen the third one, but it's cheesy at times. It's great. It's fun. And if you can see the tagline at the very top, it says it's not a remake, it's not a sequel, it's not based on a Japanese one, which is hilarious because around the time, all of that, that was just, and it still was going on, like with all the remakes and all that, and all the sequels and stuff. But I think it was just funny how they decided to kind of poke fun at that. And this is old school American horror, and then they had like 2 sequels afterwards. And there's really great. It's probably it's leading up to be one of the newer franchises of the 2000s era, which it kind of revived a little bit of the slasher genre. Not much, but it did. It do a little bit of effort. Alright, next one's weird, because, this is number 34, this is See No Evil, and it's about, Kane from WWE as a slasher villain, and, he actually does a very good portrayal, and it's like, and there's a bunch of places full of delinquents and stuff. They're just like, and so, and there's like, the thing about it is that it's like kind of a twist because everyone has done something bad in the past, and it's like, you don't really know who to root for, but there's like no one you're really not rooting for, so it's a fun thing. It's a fun movie to watch. I enjoyed it personally. It's, in my opinion, a blast. I think it's fun, but it's good. And they have some good effects in it. And they have a sequel. It has a right amount of cheesiness, but also some darkness. It's a good movie. I think it's great, and the sequel is apparently really good. I haven't seen it yet, though. Next is High Tension. Another one that's not for everyone because, as good as it is, and a lot of people hate the ending because of the twist, and the twist they say doesn't make any sense, but I think the twist kind of adds to it. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me at first, and I was like, alright, well, actually, that does kind of make a lot of sense, but I end up really liking this. It's a really good movie, and it's French slasher. It's directed by Alexandre Aja. He directed the new Piranha 3D and the remake of Piranha, and that's Piranha 3D, and then he directed the Hills Have Eyes remake, and Mirrors. He directed that too. He directed a lot, but yes, this is a really, really good movie. Dark, gritty, intense, and it's really, really kind of mean-spirited at times, but I love it. Next is Hills Run Red. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. Definitely not bad. I really enjoyed it, but it's like there's so many weird twists, and then it's like, okay, you're thinking it's gonna be some slasher. It is, but then it kind of talks against like, oh, it's cliche. No, they're like, no, it's not cliche. It's like, we know what Scream's doing, but this time it's like, oh, it's such a cliche. One time this character says, I'm like, no, please. You really shouldn't say, oh, it's just such a cliche. Because, I guess it makes sense, but just the twist didn't really do it for me. But I love this movie. The killer's really cool, and I think that he's what made it, not the other members of that weird. But it's worth it. The good characters, like the main characters, are good too, and it's a great movie. But it doesn't really have I don't know how you have the best ending. It's like not like a good ending, but I love the movie anyway. It really is introducing a new face to horror, and I enjoy it. 31, Wrong Turn. Okay, this movie has spawned 5 sequels. So they're at 6, or actually 7 now. They're probably going to release a 7th, I think. Having a family of mutants and inbred mutants isn't uncommon, actually. Because the next one has it too. But this is like, it kind of toys the whole 70s thing, but adds some of that teen horror aspect to it. And it's really interesting. It's like a survival movie, slasher movie. And it's about surviving in the woods, being all stranded. I enjoyed it personally. I think that this movie deserves a lot of credit, and like whenever it doesn't get any, actually it does, but the sequels don't really. But I haven't really seen the sequels yet. But I know that this is good. Really, the effects are good, well acted. Normally in a movie, the bad actors are killed like first, hopefully, in those. So, The Hills Have Eyes remake. This is a great one. Alexander Aja directs this one too, and he does a phenomenal job with it, because like, this is the remake. I hadn't seen the original before by Wes Craven, rest in peace. But Hills Have Eyes, mutants, and inbreds. Think about mutants. You don't really see them as much. Well, Wrong Turn, Hills Have Eyes, and maybe Chernobyl Diaries, but even then you barely see them. Mutants are not as common as monsters, or are not as common as like ghosts now, or ghosts that are actually demons, But anyway, The Hills Have Eyes is another one of those 70s style things, because the first one was made in the 70s. But I really enjoyed this. The mutants look cool, and same as Wrong Turn, but like the mutants look really interesting. I'm saying that the mutants look cool in Wrong Turn also, but fantastic movie. Good effects, great acting. I enjoyed it. They had a sequel, and I enjoyed that one too. 29 is one of my absolute favorites. Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. This is in a world where Michael, Freddy, Jason, all are actually real, but they like downplay the supernatural aspects of them. They talk about them a little bit, and it's more of a. It's more the fact that these are killers in the real world or whatever, and they're all like slashers and people who look out to them. Leatherface exists in this world too, I think. But yeah, and Leslie Vernon is just this guy who wants to become the next best slasher in real. And he gets his camera crew to follow him around, so setting it up, and you can see he's like setting up all the cliches, has some good comedy in there. It's pretty funny, and I really enjoyed this movie. And it kind of turns into a slasher at the end, but you can see Leslie Vernon, you can like this character. Sure, he's crazy, but he's not like horrible. He's not. Compared to others, he's a character you can kind of see yourself being friends with if he wasn't so insane, and I love that about it. Next one, you might not say is a slasher movie, but Creature, definitely. Creature. Terror has. Alright, this thing's about a half man, half alligator in the swamp. Works really well with the double feature with Hatchet, because you know what? This movie's really good. I saw it on Netflix, and it's intense. And Sid Haig's in it also. And it's such a strange movie, but really strange. They use an actual rubber suit for the monster, which I think is well deserved in a world where we just use like CG now. And that's thumbs up, and it actually looks menacing. I like that. Props. Great movie. And even but it is set up like a slasher movie. It doesn't really use weapons, but it's set up the same. It's well acted. It's a great movie. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that watch Creature. Great movie. This is. Oh, all this list is from 2000s to present because the 90s and 80s were covered in other videos. This is Cry Wolf, by the way. 27 is Cry Wolf. Cry Wolf is a PG-13 slasher. I know, PG-13 slasher. Ugh. Some people might be saying, how is that possible? Well, this one I got the unrated cut, which is barely anything else, and it'd still be like PG-13, and it's very suspenseful. Has a good twist. Has good turns. It's a great movie. I would prefer if it would have been they had a great twist. I would prefer if it would have been a little more extreme and they wouldn't trying just to appeal to that teen crowd. Because, no, I mean just the teenager crowd or the people who are younger than that, because they get more money that way. Because you're sacrificing effects for and a legendary notoriety for just a few extra people to go. But anyway, this is a great movie and great suspense. I love this. It's wonderful. I enjoy it. Next one's great. Cold Prey from Norway. There is a dub on the DVD, and the dub is not the best. Some of the characters remind me of The Room, kind of like how Tommy Wiseau delivers his lines or whatever. Whenever you're watching the dub, but the sub was pretty intense, and I really I'm gonna rewatch it with the sub because subtitle actually looked a lot more I could take it more seriously, even though I really did take this movie seriously. It was realistic, it was more gritty, it kind of played on the whole classic stuff, but since it did play on all the classic cliches, not really cliches, because it's suspenseful, creepy, wonderful, great movie, but it has 2 sequels, haven't seen them yet, but this is a well-needed entry into the modern day slasher cycle. Next is another one. This one's an 80s throwback. This is The Sleeper. Okay, so The Sleeper is a movie about it's like Black Christmas almost. It's a lot like Black Christmas to me. Because you have someone who's walking around, doing prank calls, giggling, calling sorority houses and stuff. The acting's pretty good in this, and they have some pretty good characters, and the killer himself is pretty cool too. The effects are great. There's this one scene where there's an animatronic head or something, but it's not really that well done, or the time where it looks like he's bashing in a doll head or something. But I would prefer practical effects that they actually put that they put effort into, than CG where they just threw it. I'm not totally against CG, but for gore effects and stuff, no, don't do that. Don't just throw fakeness on the screen. I prefer this. Is a good movie. It felt like it was from the 80s. It's wonderful, great movie. I keep saying wonderful. What am I saying? Next one, people might say no, Drew's saying a slasher movie. It is. Okay, we have a guy like Chrome Skull who sets up traps. This movie got a sequel, also to the collection, and he's creepy, hisses and stuff. And it's just you don't really see many villains that are as creepy as this. And nowadays, that could become more prolific. But here's the thing about this one. The cinematography is great, everything's great. A lot of people say it's Saw, no, those type of movies aren't good. I love those type of movies. They aren't just about war, they're about suspense and stuff. People don't know what they're talking about when it's just gore. Seriously. And it's those movies actually rely on suspense. This one really does. I love it. It's a great movie. Watch it. Next is more of a cheesy one. Shredder. Shredder is an 80s throwback type thing, but not as much. But I have to just complain about one thing. The blonde in it, her acting was horrible. But I thought it was okay. I thought the movie was great, but I just think that one girl's acting was just awful. Well, sort of. It's something you'd expect like a Sci-Fi Channel movie, but I kind of thought that this one, is cheesier, but I think that character just needed a little bit more to her, rather than just like a character that was like has really like Sharknado-esque acting. That just doesn't work for me. But this is a great movie. I'm not really complaining. I enjoyed it. The Killer School acting. They have a good soundtrack, I believe. I hadn't seen it in a while, but it's pretty well shot, and I enjoyed it. Next is Venom, another swamp slasher. This one has some pretty good. It has good effects and has a voodoo plot. Something about a guy who's been like bitten by a bunch of snakes who like have like a bunch of souls in them. It's a little weird and interesting. And the whole thing where he is just attacking these people, and you see more. There's so much character in him that in all the people, and it's a lot. It's a really good movie. I think that it deserves more credit than it has, and it has a lot of potential to it. And I really enjoyed this movie, and I think that anyone who would watch this would enjoy it too. Anyone who's like a horror fan, at least. The acting's good, the story's good, and there have like conflict, drama, all these things. Characters matter in this movie a lot more than usual, and there's like only a few throwaway characters, and they get killed like at the start. But Number 21, Simon says, I will remember this movie for two major things. It's a massive body count, and it's incredibly mean spirit. I saw this pretty young, like 5th grade. And, there's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like only 5 people that are on the cover who are there, but there was definitely more than just them. I remember that. I might be mistaken, but I'm almost 100% there was more, like lots more. There was a scene with a dog with the incredibly mean spirit, and I kind of cried at that when I was that age. But I ended up liking the movie. It had just kind of a weird ending, but Crispin Glover does really well in it, and I enjoy this movie. It's a good movie, but it's not for everyone because of that one scene. I like it though. Yeah. So next up we have Dark Ride. Yep. Finishing off this list, we have a movie about a guy who wears a part of a baby doll for a mask and attacks people in a carnival. Well, I think we've seen the whole doll mask thing before, back with back when Hills Run Red. Well, this I think came out before, but it's kind of like Hatchet, and it's really well shot, well done. It's part of the After Dark thing. After Dark Horror Fest, like the 8 Films to Die For thing. I thought this movie is great. I think the whole Carnival Dark Ride thing is kind of creepy, and there's a good twist. It's well done. I really enjoy Dark Ride. That's fun. Dark Ride's a really good movie. It's a blast. I know I don't really seem like I have a lot to say about these, but I have to. I think I just woke up a few hours ago. Alright, this is going to be continued in part 2. The reason I've let this go so long is because I've decided to talk a little bit more about what's going to be in part 2. I'm going to include some remakes. I'm going to include, most likely, some remakes, stuff like that, some lower budget things. I'm going to show some popular stuff once I see it, but I'm making sure I see everything before I put it on the list. And I'll make sure that I'm a little bit more uppity and do more jokes and stuff like that. And I'm a little bit more informative, because I know I wasn't as much this time. But I promise you will not be disappointed next time. And again, you guys, thank you for watching, and I really hope you all have an amazing day, or night, or whatever. And I hope you, and subscribe if you want to, because there's plenty of videos like this coming up, and I have part 2, and I have a bunch of other things, like little reviews of games, movies, talking about a bunch of other little things that I could just talk about. Well, yeah, and soon enough I'm going to be having a crowdfunding for my first movie, and I still want to be a director. I'm going to ask for you guys for help, but right now it's yeah, it's gonna take a pretty long time to get through all this, but you know,